Good evening, travelers of the night. Welcome back to The Stranger, where the immersion of an audio drama meets the chaos and uncertainty that is Dungeons & Dragons. We used to say where fate teeters on the edge of a die. That's how we try to play. Today we're joined by Asteria as Dr. Isadora Glass.
Playing four-dimensional dragon chess.
Shane as Trevor the Heartless.
A beefy friend coming round the bend, trying to avoid an early dead end.
Matt as Inquisitor Nihilus von Stonen.
Continuing to shine amazing light in even the darkest of cells.
And Ari as Esperanza Boira.
Oh, she's gonna get him this time.
Today we're also joined by Tom from the Emerald Collective, a D&D 5e and other storytelling group. We're also joined by Ben from the Emerald Collective, another amazing dungeon master and player from that group. While this is Tom's last episode, this is Ben's first. Stick around after today's episode and we'll play a clip of their show. You can find all of their details and links to their show at thestrangerpod.com/Emerald Collective. Tom, any last words for our listeners? And Ben, any first words?
I thought the asylum was across the bay, but after what just happened, I'm not so sure.
You have nothing to lose but your chains. Please, somebody, let me out of these chains.
Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hugh, when you close your eyes and think back to the days that your family used to live as below-born nobles, what do you remember? What was it like?
There was music. I remember that most of all. There's no music here. But there could be. I remember smell of bacon frying from the kitchens. Mother didn't cook. It was the servants, but I always liked it there. Warm brick. Steam from the kettles filled the air, clung to you. Warmth. It was warm there, where it wasn't elsewhere in the house. It's so cold here.
Later, though, it wasn't like that, was it, Hugh? Instead, the only steam was when the windows fogged up in that ramshackle house that the family eventually found themselves in. The cook, well, would be lucky to get a proper meal. Things got so bad. You remember, even as a kid, when you'd close your eyes and think back to what used to be, trying to fade the world out. You remember the shattering of glass as your dad dropped that bottle of liquor that could have been spent on a meal. When you opened your eyes, you remember him leaning down, his skin oily and slick. He's been sweating, the stains on his shirt. And he'd put his hand on your shoulder. And Roland, you were there too. You protect your brother. Isn't that right, Roland?
Yeah, I make a noise at that point. Something disturbing. Catch that bastard's attention away. I know what he's going to do.
What's the noise you make?
There's a particular point on the bed, if you lean on it just right, it creaks this high-pitched as when the timbers shifts. Had an ear infection when he was younger. Sets it right off.
Quiet! Roland! As he would squeeze onto your shoulder a little more firmly, and he leans in because he is imparting another bit of wisdom.
Clenched my teeth and brace.
Life is going to be different for you. You hear that? In the end, doesn't matter if you're noble or you're the filth on the street. We're all people. I'm a person, he would often say when he felt lost himself. Nobody's better than anybody else. It shouldn't be like this. You have to build it when you get older. Build it. All those structures, all the power that we used to have isn't right. You need to tear it down. As he would push your shoulder into the wall a bit harder, you feel a little bit of a strain, a pain from how hard he squeezes. You need to be angry when you grow up. And at this point, Roland, you see he is going off the deep end. This is usually when it gets bad. What do?
I'm trying to reach underneath the pillow to pick up that fork. The only thing I could pick up the table earlier. That's all we can get tonight.
You sneak your hand under the pillow. Please roll a sleight of hand check.
That's a grand total of an 11.
That might not be enough. You hear the rustling of the sheets. They're cheap, and so they make a lot of noise, but he's so focused and belligerent that you're able to get it. And you silently take several steps in his direction as you see his hand starting to raise.
And the fork leaves the hand. And as he's coming down, it should just catch the knuckles just enough to knock his hand into the bedpost and not my brother's head.
You do so. The fork strikes his hand, and all you remember, Hugh, is that wasn't a very good night. But you've changed. Somewhat. It was years later that you found yourself working in the mines. And now, you're the one giving speeches. You stand on a soapbox, and you raise your voice to the miners who toil around you. What do you say?
He has his hammer in hand and pick, and he clangs them together, gaining their attention. Kinfolk! Stand! Do not kneel before these so-called men. You are no lesser than them. They are no greater. Rage! Rage against these chains that they have forged. Forged around your neck from the day that you were born. With no sin other than being born in the wrong bed, in the wrong house, on the wrong street. If you even had a house, a roof over your head. Take that hammer and that pick. Pull not the diamonds and the gold from the earth for these pigs. Build for yourselves brick and mortar, lives for you, your children.
You hear that familiar voice in your head, a memory. Rage! Rage! As a wine bottle would smash against the table and the sharp end would be pointed back at his kids, you feel a grab at your wrist. Somebody had approached. You didn't notice. There's a reason why the miners weren't gathering around your soapbox today, and you missed it. One of the mine guards had changed his patrol. And you feel that tug thrusting you off of the box into the ground. As Roland, you see you see your brother forced down into the dirt.
I'm already running forward. Pickaxe is raised, and it'll go through the foreman's hand in exactly the same place. But it goes through the hand, and the blood carries on round, straight into the side of the face, and he's left hanging. First drops of blood fall in the mine.
The miners pick up their pickaxes. You hear,
Rage, 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 rage.
It's on you, brother. Live all the way.
as the guards start accumulating and a fight erupts. You have one more rallying cry you can shout. What do you say, Hugh?
He will take Roland's hand if Roland will help him up out of the ground. He says,
They push me to the dirt. Us to the dirt. Where they think we belong. But that's where they'll end up. Just like all the rest of us. We came from the dirt and that's where we'll all wind up. My brother, he spilled the first drop here today. But the last drops, they belong to all of you!
And that fight was a victory, a resounding victory. Not a drop of minor blood was spilled. They were emboldened by your words. And you held it. You held that mine. But as time went on, it became obvious there wasn't anywhere to go. You're fighting for ending fight of guards sent from the Citadel. And though much noble blood was spilled, finally, a new troop was sent. Someone different to handle it. It being your little coup. And this leather-clad, menacing individual leading a pack of elite guards walks down the mine shaft. You even see, as he approaches closer, the dropped tools and rubble and stone part way for him. The power that radiates is immeasurable. As you see your folk, your miners, those who you've emboldened to fight, turn on each other. As one strikes the next, as one pickaxe goes through the next. And it all happens so quickly. This revolution that could have started, it all ends so quickly. The next thing you know, you're surrounded by bodies, with this man standing over you.
Do it if you're doing it.
What was it you were chanting there? Was it a rage?
Rage.
Rage.
Just do it.
Nah. I was told to end it. I was supposed to end it as soon as I saw you, but I think, I have a plan for you. I think for now I'm gonna send you over to Coldwater.
Hugh will... He'll go for this guy. He at least attempt to jump at him.
Please roll a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Let me just...
As I think our other players know a little bit of what to expect.
Okay, so the 13. I feel like that's probably not enough.
You pick up your hammer, and as quickly as you can, you raise from the ground, going to strike it into the head of this man. And you do so. It strikes hard, enough to kill anybody. You just see half of his face mask and visor and hood reveal this black, pitch black like charcoal skin and flesh tear from his face, and seeing the inner portion of his jawbone as he continues talking at you. Now that wasn't very kind of you. And suddenly it all goes dark. You've never forgotten that day. You wake up occasionally in your cell in cold water, in cold sweats. Last night wasn't any better, but something tells you to look out of the window of your cell.
What does he see?
You step up, you walk to the window, and of all people, you see Roland walking through the front door of the prison, down the center, not a guard to be seen. This has happened before. Occasionally, if there's a VIP, things can be arranged to loosen who's walking. The prison gets locked down, and they can walk unimpeded all the way from the shallows to the gullet. Behind him, several interesting characters. A priest, it looks like, or something of higher ranking. This small person with a tuft of yellow hair. You see what looks to be a inquisitive sort, a professor, an older lady who hobbles with a cane, and a large half-orc figure. And this strange ragtag bunch has just opened the door to the gullet, which people don't usually go there willingly. But you have an opportunity. You know the way out of this cell. You've done it before, and you have your go bag. You got it on your last attempt out of this place, where Roland was more successful than you. What would you like to do?
Well, he's a bit stunned. He held on to hope, every night that Roland would be back, like he said that he would be. He trusted him. If anybody could make it happen, it would be Roland, but he certainly didn't expect this, and certainly not going into the gullet. So, yeah, I mean, he's action, act first, devise a plan later, So, yeah, he's going to take that go bag and go.
You move as quickly as you can. You grab that go bag, taking one of the stones out of the wall where you've had it hidden. You get the pick that you've previously used to open your door. It's quiet right now because this isn't the time that most people are awake, especially here. It's quite isolated. You move your hands around the bars and you deftly pick the lock open as the door opens. And just as it does, you see the lift to the gullet close. You head towards the gullet, turning the lift and revealing that large, thick metal door. And interestingly, something's different this time. A baton. You see, propping it open, just a crack, able to be reopened by you. And you do. You pull that door open, you get to the stairs. You've never been here before. Who would want in their right mind to find their way into the gullet? But that's where your brother is. Making your way all the way down, you see something that disturbs you. Into a central hall. You see doors on either side and one at the end that's open. Inside that room across from you, there is a man with torn up, burned marks all over his body, sitting on the ground with his hand on a small white skull. And in the hallway is littered with people unconscious. And all the way at the end is your brother Roland.
He has his eyes closed. He is going to rush to Roland and feel for a pulse. He's going to shake him and... Roland!
He doesn't immediately come to, but his eyes kind of open and close lightly. He's almost on the brink of something. He might need more to bring him back.
He is going to just lay a hand right across his face.
Ow. Roland, the last thing you remember is on repeat being in that mine, getting taken over and over again as your rage for this villain and his troop only increased, and suddenly you are snapped out of it. As too does everybody in the hall slowly starts to rise.
What the? Is this what? Hugh? What the? Is this another of this dream? He looks back to him. Is this the dream? Where are we? And then back to Hugh.
You're supposed to be rescuing me.
And he just grabs Hugh in a big embrace. Good God.
What the?
I am. I'm here to get you. What that? Why are you here?
Why are you here? What are you doing in the gullet?
We have a lot. We need to be fast. The witching hour will finish soon. How much longer do you guys need?
Well, excuse me. What the hell just happened?
He's still, and Esper is pointing towards Sam Thanthorn.
Oh, right.
Get somebody smarter than me, please.
All right, yes. Nihilus snaps his finger and the door closes. All right, let's keep that out of mind for a second. First of all, what happened?
I was going to ask you that.
Well, we'll find out. Is this the person you were looking for? The one you were embracing? I assume it is, yes?
Yes. Hugh, this is a bunch of weird people who agreed to come and help you. Everyone, this is Hugh, my brother.
Hello, you acquaintances lady, if you don't mind. We're in a bit of a rush. So that is one down.
There's something, the skull in the room. There's something strange about it.
Oh shit.
It started to feel really, really funny. And then everything went weird.
Things felt funny. Somehow I don't feel like laughing.
Dr. Glass is dusting herself up and just calls out, Emile? Emile, are you here? It's Dr. Glass. Do you hear me? Where are you, Emile?
Please roll performance. Performance is fine.
14 loud voicey roll.
Here. In here. You hear from one of the doors on the other side of the hall. The whispering is coming near the bottom, through the crack. Is that Glass?
And she's, Kane clopping over. I mean, yes, it's Dr. Glass. It's Isidore Glass. I found you. You got me out in time. And she's going over to the door and...
No, don't touch it. Don't touch it. If you try to get me out, it'll know. You have to deal with Mordecai.
Fuck that.
The soul render.
Mr. Hugh, I suspect that's who you thought we were going to say. I'd rather been hoping Emile would tell us that he was just misunderstood.
Apologies, I heard... My hearing that he is in the mines down here. I thought you said Dr. Faust. That's the only doctor's name I've heard mentioned around here.
Oh, him. That's a name that sticks in your ears.
Dr. Faust visits. He sometimes visits.
And he visited you last night, is that true?
He was just here. He said he was going to talk to Mordecai. His favorite patient.
Have you seen Mordecai? Is he by any chance just a skull?
I've never seen in the room, but they say he's a necromancer. Maybe he is a skull, I don't know.
Lovely.
Close up to, within earshot of the whispering, but still staying silent. Trevor his eyes dart down to Sam and his hand on the skull, and then just like this strangely comedic, like, look of foreboding on his face, just slowly sidles up to the skull.
As you walk through the precipice of the room and towards the center, you feel something. It's like if you were to have a cut and then stick it in salt water. All of that green, dark necrosis that has started to accumulate around your chest and around your body, it stings. Not debilitatingly, but you can feel that you're in some kind of presence that reacts with you.
Oh damn. Okay. I know there's some things we need to talk about. We'll do that later, I think.
Wise.
Yeah. He's gonna look down at the skull. He's not gonna get any closer to it. That thing ain't right. I think he's gonna take probably like one of his daggers out that he took from Ephraim, and he's just gonna like nudge the skull with the dagger.
I'm gonna touch it, he said.
I'm not gonna do it with my hands. Am I crazy?
As you reach your dagger forward to the skull, as it grazes that bone, taking a little bit of bone dust as it scratches it. Trevor, please roll a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Why am I like this?
Here we go again.
That is a 6.
It's as if a hand reached out and grabbed onto you via your inner rib cage through the hole and dragged you in. Everybody sees as Trevor's body falls unconscious yet again.
Oh, come on.
Hugh, grab the half-orc, we're going.
Aye.
I'm not going. Not without Emil. Emil, any advice here?
If we try to go, Mordecai stops us. Every time. Once I left my cell.
I have psychic powers now. I know it's been a while. I worked with Abelard. Is that a bad idea or the worst idea? I tried to read thoughts and it plunged us into a whole thing, but...
Glass, nobody gets out of here. You're in the gullet. Nobody leaves the gullet.
Then we might as well get comfortable, Emil.
And Mordecai's the one. He's the one who stops it.
Roland will throw a dagger at the skull. With the aim to try and hit it hilt first and just knock it, trying to break it that way.
And I would like to telekinetically pull Trevor's body towards me, just out of the way of whatever happens next.
It's just the face slides across the ground.
As Roland instructed, Hugh is taking the half-orc over his shoulder.
Your dagger flies deftly through the air. For a moment, you remember your father as it strikes hilt at the back knocking this skull to the ground over into the distance in the room. You grab Trevor, throw him over your shoulder, and what are you doing with him?
I'm encouraging my brother to run. I'll slam that door behind us, and we're going. Let's see if we can get out.
We can't leave Emil, can we? It's half the reason we came here.
God
Okay.
damn it.
I know, I want to leave. So what is the issue? Just this door?
Dr. Glass stopped at the door, and she's gonna do one stupid thing.
Oh, it's your turn.
And she is gonna plant her cane down, and she is going, for the first time ever, she's never used it before, use, Wes, on my sheet, I labeled it Nightjar's Nocturne, because I'm a melodramatic bitch, and use an action to unleash a surge of psychic energy.
Roland, as you run back to the door, quickly fumbling, finding your lockpicks, and trying to handle this door, I'd like for you to roll sleight of hand. I'll get to you, Dr. Glass, in just a second, because this is pertinent.
That is an unnatural 20.
And what is the wisdom save that's required?
Oh, that's me. 15, sorry. Don't worry, y'all. This is how Soul Reapers flirt. Mordecai's gonna understand.
How does it look when you use the cane? I promise it'll all come together. I'm just trying to get the full picture.
She plants it down. This is a power that she's only intuited. This is a new ability of the cane. And Emil being so close has emboldened her because he's the person who made her realize what she is and what powers she has. And that slight hum that Esper heard earlier, that represents the power of the cane and this psychic power that Dr. Glass always talks about in sort of auditory terms, is much louder and sharper. I don't know if the skull can hear things, but if it could, it would be an ear-splitting sound that only the skull can hear. Mordecai can hear. And her eyes, gray-green like Rasputin's, go starry, and then it's like a supernova in her eyes. As if he fails, it's 2d8 psychic damage, and if that brings the target to 0, then something else happens.
Please roll the psychic damage.
And I believe I can add psychic blades to this damage if I want, right?
I believe so.
I think I will. So that's 19 total.
Last question. Actually, not a question. It's actually a demand. Please roll an athletics check.
Ooh.
I assume real athletics, not like when we were all in dreams and I got to use a different stat.
Yep. This is real athletics.
Gotta hit it with the cane like you're playing croquet.
A 12. Totally respectable for someone with a strength of 4.
You plant your cane into the ground. You tilt it forward, and you feel the psychic resonance shoot. Though invisible, you hear the ear-piercing screech as the ground begins to vibrate. The pebbles on the ground vibrate along with it. Everything starts to shake as the walls start to crumble from the sides, as your cane is ripped out of your hand and flies into the space between you and the skull, as if the skull and the cane are in conflict. The two of them rise up to the center of the room in the ceiling, and you alone, Dr. Glass, can see the psychic battle being fought between the cane and the skull. As Roland, you pop the door open, you hear the lock tumble, you open the door, and on the other side, you see a cheery-eyed butler with a tray, a metal one. "Hello, sir. It's so great to see you here. I would love to offer you some of our hors d'oeuvres," as he lifts the tray.
What?
You don't see Emil behind this door. As you look to the other end of the hall, you see a dock worker. He's got this striped shirt. He goes over to a rope on the wall. He begins pulling it.
Just a little further.
Wait, aren't you... What? Oh, not again. Dark? Inquisitor?
You see Dr. Glass as your door is opened. The door to your room, of course, Dr. Glass. The one you're sharing with Nihilus. Hello, I hope I'm not disturbing you.
Do I feel at sea, literally, or...
Yes.
Well, it's hard to disturb me any further than I've been disturbed, so what is it? Make it quick.
And by the way, all of this, you're conscious of. You know there's some rascal behavior happening here. As he says, well, you see, your bodyguard, is that right? I think his name was Trevor, wasn't it?
Yes, Trevor.
Right, Trevor. So, he got into a fight in the common quarters, and he's not looking too well. I brought him to you for medical attention because our doctor is just too busy right now.
Very thoughtful.
Trevor, you emerge mid-step into the room, having just heard that conversation, but not exactly knowing how or why you got here. But Trevor looks very bruised up. Bandages on his body, his arm in a sling.
Hey. What's going on?
And Wes, do I remember everything that happened before with all the watching the nightmare versions of myself from other people's point of view and...
Yes. You remember everything. You know you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
This is her Royal Rose. This is the ship we started this campaign on.
Trevor, how are you? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you feel like strangling me right now?
Okay, how long was I out? He kind of reaches up with his free hand and kind of rubs his forehead. I think we gotta take this one thing at a time.
All right, so I don't think we're in your psychic anger fantasy trap. Are we in my psychic anger fantasy trap? Are you... say something mean to me, I suppose. Are you a manifestation of my unexpressed angers at you? You seem kind of normal. You seem in pain. Sit down on the bed and I'll tend to you, but... maybe this is something else. Fascinating.
Man, I think I got hit harder than I thought. He's gonna slowly stumble over to the bed. Okay, so, can we, wind this back? Okay. What do you remember? Because I trust your memory better than mine.
Well, that's a lovely thing to say. Depending on which Trevor you are, we're on the Royal Rose on our way to Crow Perch. And I believe you've just gotten in a scrap with Todd Gray, associate of the Van Thorns, over a gun that was found in the hold. I don't think I remember you, but you cleaned his clock. I actually don't remember you getting beat up on the boat.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't remember a fight.
Yes.
Did I win?
I think the only person who's ever beaten you up really is me, which I'm sorry about.
Damn right.
Also there was that psychic monster at Treadwell's. That was pretty bad. Do you remember that? Do you remember Dredgewell? The bee man. He's very memorable.
Yeah. B-Man. Yep. No, I remember the B-Man.
Okay, great.
Yep. I don't think I could forget that. We was down in cold water. I touched his skull, and then I'm here. So, like,
Oh, yes.
how long was I out?
No, this is my fault.
Is the saturation over? Are we going back?
Oh, yes. You're still unconscious. That does complicate things. I did something clever. And that's probably what this is. I tried out a mind thingy on the skull.
Nice. Okay.
I'm not even sure it didn't work. This seems like it didn't work. But maybe it's still in process and I'm fighting it. Maybe this is like that first time at the Whaler and we should be breaking things.
So, am I in your head?
That's what I can't figure out.
Oh. Is this what it's like when you, like, talk to people? Is this what you do?
You know, a little bit, but also no.
Oh. Alright, I thought I was getting more powers.
Oh, that kind. I thought you meant as a psychiatrist.
Oh.
As you're chatting, Nihilus, along with your good old friends Hugh and Roland, who for some reason for a moment you feel like you go back but then break out of that, the three of you walk down the hall, also remembering everything as you find the open door of Dr. Glass and Trevor. Your room, Nihilus.
Do you guys get this happen to you all the time?
Yes. Frankly.
I remember distinctively a voice of someone living at a place that was dangerous, repeatedly saying, "Do not touch it," and yet people keep touching it.
It was an accident?
It wasn't. I did it on purpose. Thank you, though, Trevor.
I'm sorry, that wasn't true.
I didn't directly touch it.
There were multiple instances of people touching stuff.
This is a very roundabout escape route.
Yeah.
All right.
We can go passing the buck back and forth until the cows come home. Let's just, let's figure out, okay, so we might be in, you weren't here with this conversation, but we might be in Doctor's head.
He was on my shoulder. He's awake now.
Well, don't just let it happen, brother. Honestly, just let it happen.
Fair enough.
Gentlemen, brothers, you're new to Hugh, if I may call you Hugh.
Sure thing.
You're very new to us. I realize the piece of this you're missing is that Esper and myself might be world-endingly powerful. We sort of are just finding out new things every day. So, you know...
That's new to me too, Doc. The world-ending part.
No, I said gentlemen brothers. I was including you in that, Roland. So, you know, I gave something a shot. I thought maybe I could, end that skull.
Dr. Glass, did you move my stuff? We were supposed to share a room, at least to be half of the table.
I paid for a suite.
This is my room in the first place. I'm sharing it with you from niceties.
I touched it only magically. Believe me, I have no desire to paw through your underthings, Mr. Van Stonen. If you forgot that you opened your own bag, do you not even remember the day we met and I specifically
not
made you open your own things in front of me as a show of dominance and did not go through your things behind your back? That is not my style at all, Nihilus.
Can we get back to the getting out of the Doc's skull?
Well, while this is happening, Trevor is like looking between the two fighting and is just gonna... He's trying to put things together. He's gonna try and reach up to his shoulder that's in a sling and just kind of jostle it and see if it's actually hurting.
Now, the sling just kind of falls off of your shoulder and the cloth falls to the ground and you're able to just kind of break through the cast on your arm.
Okay, you guys, luckily, I didn't have no suite, so my stuff, I travel light. So, two of you looks over at Hugh and Roland. This is where we all met, I guess. Hold on, wait. And he's gonna go over to the door and look out into the hallway. Do we know where Esper is?
As you look into the hallway, looking to the right, you see Mr. Augie walking through the hall, holding Esper by the hand, trailing her back, and finally he gets to the door. He pulls Esper forward and shoves her into the room, and you hear, "She's your problem now. I'm so tired of this one." And he storms off into the other direction. As Esper, you've entered scene.
See you in the bunker, Augie.
Okay, my room.
Is he important to...
No, Lord, no.
No, he's not. He's an asshole.
He's a bit important.
I don't know if I asked him his name.
That's very kind of you, Nihilus. That's your religion shining through, I think.
Well, he's still a person, and he has a distinctive job and a function on here.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm sure Augie isn't supposed to be here.
I don't think any of us are.
Why are we back in this suite?
Clearly something is going on. If you have just a moment, the Terre Magiam, as he flips open his spellbook as it floats into the air, and he will cast Detect Magic.
You try to feel its presence. Where is the presence of magic? You might say to yourself, as nothing seems to trigger it. It behaves normally. You know your spell. You know what you can do. And somehow, even here, wherever here is, it's not triggering anything. Though, as you cast it, you see Lord Felix Royce storm across the hall as he yells, "Where did he get off to? I've been looking for this man for the entire time." Shh, there's a door open. Right. Looking for this man the entire time. As he storms by, you see Todd Gray and Lord Felix Royce walking down the hall.
Oh, is this about...
Sam.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. I'm having a thought. Okay,
Get there, Trevor.
so we wasn't the only ones in that room when we got took and put here. So, and we ain't the only ones who was here at the time
Correct.
when we was here. So,
Look.
So we know where he is. We know where he'll
Kinda.
be, where he might be.
Yes.
I saw him down in the hold.
Or he was tied in the chair kind of sexy like.
I'm glad you said it.
Oh,
We can say it now that we know he didn't want to leave.
So he's either in Felix's room, which I don't think it sounds like it is, so he might be down in the luggage.
We should also just keep an eye out, because even in reality, he seems to just be everywhere and anywhere. He's slippery.
Well, there's plenty of us. So he's here. We thought it was Felix, but
Oh, yes. A single word that we hear on this place, I would not trust. We are in some form of pocket dimension, I believe. My detecting of magic does absolutely nothing, and all of our consciences are here at the same time, yet...
no, Nihilus, that's what Trevor was getting to. The only person who is in the room who's not here with us right now is the only other person who's around us where we're supposed to be, and that's Sam.
So we're likely in his mind.
We thought it was Felix down here that we saw, but it was Sam instead of Felix.
yeah. That was the feller with the skull. Just We should probably mosey before Felix finds him.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm so confused. This went way beyond what I was expecting.
Just because I think it might be fun. There's a chatter happening amongst those who are in the know right now, and there are two people who are expressly not in the know, and that is Hugh and Roland. And I wonder what it would be like to hear a conversation between the two of them happening to the side in this room at this moment.
I have one question. Who are these people?
If I'm honest, they were what I had to work with.
Right, so...
I ran out of time, I ran out of money, I had no other options. They were the people when I was on the way here.
So, they want some guy called Emil? Or now there's a Sam?
I think Sam is the burnt-looking fucker in the room.
Who was fondling the skull?
Yeah, I think that's one of the Van Horn buggers. And then Emil was at the door that I opened, but he's butler, so I'm confused by that. And they keep mentioning other names. I don't know who they are.
Right. Fair enough.
I thought it was going to take me hours to get through the security layers, and some guy in a Van Horn came through in a robe. Apparently the witching hour is a true thing. They do switch off the cards and send them. We'd known that 5 years ago. We could have just waltzed out.
Right. Yeah. And one of them mentioned world-ending powers.
That I didn't know that. I did not know that, brother. I swear. She had power. She's got some psychic thing going on.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in knowing her political leanings. Because that could come in handy or be troublesome.
Maybe when we're out of the prison, we can have to talk about that side of things. Not the time.
I've got some literature.
You kept the pamphlets? Oh, God. You kept the pamphlets. You made more. Did you make more pamphlets?
Yeah, she should probably wash them before she reads them.
Don't store them in the dust. You've got to store them separately. Anyway, no. Right. I think they're still arguing about who did what on which side of the room. Yeah, they are. Are you okay?
I'm better than I've been since I last saw you.
Yeah,
I'm just glad you're here, even though we don't know where here is. But wherever it is, you're with me. So that's something.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping just to walk straight back out again.
So was I. It looked like it was going that way.
I think the issue was where I went into the gullet. Why are you in the gullet? You should be in the hold.
Well, you were in the gullet.
You shouldn't be here. Why?
I thought I was supposed to see you. You were waltzing through in front of my cell. I thought it was like...
I never waltz. I've never waltzed in my life. You know that.
Well, you know. Well, you fine. You sashayed down into the... I thought it was like a queue. You know, I wasn't expecting you to hold up a sign saying Mr. Albrecht.
Anyway, we need to get back on track. I don't know where we are in the witching hour. I know we need to get out of here. We can't directly smash the skull. So how do we break a skull we can't break?
No. So it seems like they might need to find this burnt chap.
And at this point, in the same span of time, you hear that same Lord Felix Royce, this man, walk by whispering about finding somebody. As we can rejoin the scenes happening, and that was absolutely a delight to hear. Thank you for that.
Do you think he's protecting us from Mordecai? Instinctively?
Just the point. It's a moot point. Let's just go towards Sam, who might be in conflict with this entire whatever situation's going on, and let's go from there. Take it step by step.
I'd like us all on the same page, because sometimes I hear one of us claiming undue responsibility for this. Reminder that none of us set that house on fire. Not to speak ill of the dead, but we were specifically unhappy when Valadin set that house on fire, and we saved Sam, and do you think it would help him to know that we desecrated the corpse of the person who set the house on fire?
I distinctively remember only one person putting out the fire. Well, I'm sure Sam thinks otherwise.
It's not about the fire right now! We have to go!
Let's go.
Short legs be flying.
Just turning over to Roland and Hugh. Just okay. Long story short, I'm gonna give you the short. We've been here. We know the other guy who had the skull in real life, so maybe he's gotten fake life too. We're going to him. You want to come with?
I mean, where else are we going to go?
Yeah, we're on a boat, so you're not really going anywhere. Just letting you know.
Are we saving him or
Apprehend.
Roland pulls out manacles. I can do apprehend. Let's go.
That's the spirit.
Love a man who's prepared.
You head down the hall to the stairs to the cargo hold, of course, where you expect Sam Thompson, previously Sam Van Thorn now, to be.
We should let you know, gentlemen, that he's never done us any harm. He's sort of like... I've sort of thought of him as like a wet sock that's been passed around. So all of this is a great surprise. Maybe he's very dangerous. We don't know. If that helps.
It doesn't, but I appreciate it.
We'll follow your lead.
You make it to the cargo hold, and Hugh and Roland, walking through this ship, you're starting to recognize it. This is her Royal Rose. It's a ship that residents of the island, especially those who work in the mines and who aren't nobles, seldom go on. The whole world is against you if you don't have means on this island. You don't get paid in gold, you get paid in scrip. That's company dollars. And you use that to pay back your debts and to buy supplies, which you need to work the mines. It is oppressive. This is her Royal Rose. It's the noble ship that ferries you to the greater world, where presumably things are better. And, Trevor, as you lead the way, knowing where you saw Sam Van Thorn last time, you make your way down the center of this cargo hold, passing the rows and rows of luggage and shelving. And there you find a crate, the same one you saw him behind originally. It's a large crate. You take some steps towards it, and, of course, almost as expected, you see Sam Van Thorn sitting, twiddling his thumbs, leaning against the wall.
Just gonna really quick try as quietly as I can, but something tells me he might be even expecting us. Slowly approach and just try and make eye contact, just kind of wordlessly.
Oh? He looks at you, recognizing you immediately, and somehow, though when you first met him he was squirrely and stammering and riddled with slow ether in his body, forcefully made to be addicted by Lord Felix Royce, he looks at you a little more confidently, with no stammer. Oh, that's you. You're the one who I saw. My first time here.
Yeah. Mine too. Howdy. I don't think we, actually got properly introduced.
Right. My name's Sam Van Thorn. It's nice to meet you.
I mean, suppose you got your sources, but I'm Trevor.
Trevor. And, what is it? Dr. Glass, and he looks now standing up a little bit, looking up over the crate. Esperanza, I was told it's Boira, or Boira. I think they told me Boira.
They both work, half the time no one gets it right.
Nihilus von Stonen, Inquisitor from Kieranstone, priest, right. And,
Well, where?
who are they? I didn't see them with you last time.
Old pals.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you right now. This is my personal time.
Well, I mean, it's our time too, right? Where are we? I mean, I know where are we, but like, how are we where we are?
This place? This isn't your place. This is my place. This is the only place I got to be safe for just a short amount of time. I got to stay here while I was being taken in every meaning of the word.
Safe from your mother?
Uh-huh.
You've never been here before. This isn't your place. Let me show you around as he takes a few steps forward, rummaging his finger through the air as if somebody might kind of pick a record on the wall as he grazes every single bit of luggage and then taps one as in a blink. There's no shaking, there's no earthquake. In a blink, you're in the room of Lord Felix Royce, and Sam Van Thorn, tied up in a chair, looks back at you from his place in the corner where you remember seeing him last, Esper.
See, I mean, it doesn't really look all that sexy. I think he was just kind of kept there.
You remember this? He looks at Esper.
I do.
Yeah. I was a hostage. You see these scars on my wrists? That's not burn marks. That's the ropes. That's weeks of ropes.
I tried to come back and we wanted to get you out, but you didn't want to leave the next time that I saw you.
Do you remember that, Sam?
Of course. Of course. I was hopelessly addicted. He had me on every single dosage you can guess of slow ether. Lord Felix Royce, as he snaps and the world changes to be the house of Lord Felix Royce. Before you were there, before any party. But you see Lord Felix Royce holding on to the back of his chair as he wails on Sam Van Thorn. With each hit, Sam looks back at you. And this was my life. Every day.
Could you hear us, Sam, from the closet before we found you? Did you hear me beg him?
I heard everything. Everybody wants Sam Van Thorn. Because my last name starts with a V, and that makes me very important.
We didn't know that.
Hey, mine does too, but I don't feel that important if it makes you feel any better.
Hush! And roll, please, a wisdom saving throw. Nihilus.
A natural 1.
Immediately, that same gag that's around his mouth that he's talking through is on Nihilus. And Nihilus, you are currently barely able to get words through.
I think he wants to try and tell us something with all this. Maybe we should listen to him.
Sam, I think you and I might get along. But trust me that your parentage, now that we know it, means nothing to any of us. It's not. We all tried to help you when we had no idea where you came from.
Okay, now I want to call for a roll. And This is one of those rolls that's going to change the course of the session and maybe the next few. It's one chance. It's a high DC. That's going to be a DC of 25 for persuasion.
I have a plus 10 to persuasion. I brought out my I won't buzz market cube of misfortune. And I will physically roll in the cube of misfortune. And I'm gonna give my Abria Mage Hand dice, sorry, that is buzz marketing, another chance, even though the only other time I've ever rolled with them was in the season 1 finale of The Stranger on my death saves. Flat roll, I assume. You didn't say anything different, right?
Flat roll. Yep.
Okay, Freud Rubber Ducky, give it a kiss.
So 15 or above.
Okay, Elias Funko Pop, give it a kiss.
We can start burning incense or something.
We have the whole ritual.
I do have incense.
It's really hard to read these dice.
It's hard to read. It could be a nat 20. I mean, it might be a nat 20.
Just assume it's a nat 20.
I mean, I said that it's not confusing whether it's 1 digit or 2, so I don't know why but that is that's a 12. Total. I rolled a 2. My love for Abria is unrequited.
Wow. Oh. Sorry, Abria. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time. Any good story starts with once upon a time, It's gotta. Once upon a time, there was a kid. And you emerge in a room, all of you together. Nihilus no longer gagged. He's giving you this grace. And you see a very wealthy noble. Hugh and Roland, you recognize the like. This is underborn noble, the pinnacle of it. I mean, this place is massive. This living room would take time to go from one end to the other. You see as Lady Van Thorn, the matriarch of the Van Thorn family, she has a ruler in her hand. She says, "You'll never lead if you don't learn. And until you start learning, you're going to get to spend time with Mordecai." And you see the kid crying, yelling no as Sam Van Thorn stands next to you. Shame. Shame. Let's see what happened next as you emerge in the same room with the skull. As you see the child sitting in the middle, holding on to it. Every day. And then what? You appear somewhere else, and you see her royal rose as a crate is lifted, the lid, and an adolescent boy climbs in and lowers the lid above him. He got out. See that? He made it. Say something. This is the good part.
I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you got out of that. It didn't look good.
Yeah. It was probably the best time. He reaches into the crate and he pulls out a small stuffed bear. This guy was supposed to go with me along the way. Throws it onto the ground. Let's see what happened next as he snaps his fingers and you appear in an alleyway and you see somebody almost unrecognizable except for the shape of his silhouette. Busking for coins. Kind of nudges Dr. Glass on her side. Might not recognize it, but that's me.
You're very resourceful.
Dr. Glass, you see Lord Felix Royce walking down the street. Not a care in the world. He takes one step after another. You know his gait. What do you think happens next?
You were taken in by him like I was. But you've got more to show for it than a limp.
Are you talking about the scars? I'm surprised you noticed.
More than the scars.
Fortunately, you see as Lord Felix Royce drops a small glass vial into the metal tray that he busks with. Esper, you recognize that. That's his first vial of slow ether.
I still remember what the first time felt like with that.
It's hard. Stopping was really hard.
I still can't. I don't know. I want to.
Shame. When they were doing surgery on me, I accidentally killed one of the doctors. Leaned over and I asked for medicine. They wouldn't give it to me. I took his scalpel and I stuck it into his throat. I liked him. I grew up with him around my family.
I spent half my career reckoning with those drugs.
And then let's see what happened next as he snaps his fingers. As Valadin walked through the doorway of Lord Felix Royce's house. It was his choice, but it was your guest. You don't still spend time with the robot, do you? You see as the flames start to grow, as he says that towards Trevor.
No. He didn't make it, no.
Good. Otherwise, I'd need to put the rest of you through fire and flames and retribution. You don't associate with him, right? You weren't friends.
Does this thing have a point?
Did it put out the flames?
I'm getting to the point. As the flames start to erupt in this room, as they grow up his chair, and you see his face and his body melting to the fire, as Lord Felix Royce, with water dousing the doorway, runs in, grabs him by the collar, his hand digging not just through cloth, but through melted flesh, as he's pulled out of this burning building. And you arrive. You arrive into the ballroom of Her Royal Rose. I'm sorry you had to see that, looking over toward Roland and Hugh.
Seems like you had a rough life.
That's not even the half of it. These guys, they brought the man to the house that burned down. They did this to me. He takes a finger and pinches the flesh on his cheek and pulls it as it's a little more elastic than it's supposed to be.
We had no idea what he was going to try and do or anything like that. I don't even think he knew. I don't think he meant it. We weren't...
That's not what my mom said.
Your mom doesn't even know us.
She told me you killed one of our family members in their bed.
Dr. Veering was your family member.
Yeah.
You just said you killed a doctor once, too.
The difference is I was heavily under the influence. I'm actually bored of you, as the room splits in half and you are thrust to opposite sides. And he sits leaning against the wall, as you're now separated from him.
It's a bit of an odd question above table, but is the way how he moves and flicks, and Nihilus is a bit smarter than I am as player. Is Nihilus able to start to pick up a bit of signals, the components that he needs to use in order to do these changes?
What you can tell, there's no check to roll for this, is he has dominion over this place in a way that you do not, or at least a way that you're not familiar with. It's an action, we'll say. So he did kind of move his hand. He didn't mutter anything, but it seems as though he exerted his will in a 6-second, D&D action.
Could Nihilus sense the feeling that he needs his hands in order to do something like that?
He is using his hands, but you wouldn't know for sure, and there wouldn't really be a way to check. This is in the cosmic horror unfathomable realm. But it must be harder for him without hands.
I think Dr. Glass might try to distract. She uses Mage Hand to pull up the comfiest looking chair she can find and sits in it and says, "Well, it sounds like we've got a lot of time to kill then, Samuel. So, let's talk more about your early relationship with your mother, shall we? What's your earliest memory?"
Oh, God, another one of those. And please roll persuasion.
18 persuasion.
Look, I've had therapists in the past, and I'm really not looking for... And Dr. Glass is keeping him distracted while the rest of you can toil.
That's fine. I'm just asking questions, Samuel.
Since Samuel's been swiping us through different realities, where are we currently at?
You're in a ballroom on her royal rose. The floor has been cracked open in the center, and you're sitting on opposite ends. You're maybe just 40 feet across. It's not far.
As the two of you are talking, Trevor is going to insert himself in the conversation. "Hey, Sam? Mind if I call you Sam?"
Yeah, what's up?
I don't like to think of myself as someone particularly violent. I certainly didn't start off like that. What happened to Veering? What happened to Constantine? I know you probably didn't care too much for him, but I just want you to know I didn't have no ill will. I just did what I had to. It was that or get caught anyway, which, great planning on my part. Here I am anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, here you are. Why are you telling me this?
I'm just trying to let you know, when we was in that bunker, we was supposed to die. Supposed to waste away or take our chances with the salt and die with a cake in our lungs. That was what was meant to happen. On this very boat, I was stuck in a room probably 3 or 4 days. Lost count, honestly. I was supposed to die there. 5 years ago, a mystical creature gave me 5 years to live. And I'm still standing here. So all that is to lay the groundwork for what's gonna happen next. The story ain't over till you stop breathing. And that goes for you too. This ain't the end. You still got power. We still got power. So this could end with us working to make this better. Your mother, from what you've been telling me, seems like she did a number on you for a long time. Just like she's doing to us. So, we could do this together. Or, we can just do the business as usual for us. And that's cheat death. Beat what seems to be impossible. And if that happens, if that happens and you're not on our side, they're going to be against us. And just like you saw with Veering, Constantine, if you're against us, I'm going to do what I have to do to survive.
I would say, in this moment, that same pivotal roll that Dr. Glass made, please make an intimidation check with advantage. The DC is going to be the same. What did I say, 22? The DC is 22.
My intimidation modifier is +2. So, at least I'm proficient.
There's going to be a sliding scale here.
Would guidance be allowed?
Yes.
As Nihilus is listening intently to the conversation, and he puts his hands on Trevor's shoulder and stands next to him. You know, it's a priest, not that intimidating, but perhaps his powers are.
Well, it's not a nat 1. And if I add a d4, it's still not going to be 22, though. That is going to be an 18.
You see you have his interest. He stands. He starts ignoring Dr. Glass and her distraction, looks towards you, and with a pinch of his finger, the room comes back together. He says, "Do you think you scare me, big man? You're in my world." Everything rumbles. The party stops as every single patron around the sides stands motionlessly looking into the center. And you know what I can do in my world? He meanders confidently, kicking his heels as he takes 3 steps past you towards Roland. Hey, you.
What can I do you for?
Got a secret to tell you.
Uh-huh. Should we go to a corner, or are you just going to leave me hanging?
Good night. And, Roland, how much health do you have?
23.
Ooh. You see, for the first time, this confident, snot-nosed kid who is in his place of, I guess, safety, you might call it, his familiar place. You see a drop of blood running down his nose and over his chin. As Roland, so does yours. A drop of blood out of your nose and down your chin. You see, he looks exhausted, and he's trying to hide it, but he's failing at it. Anyway, I'll leave you to it for a moment. And he takes a few steps to the side and leans against the wall, clutching his knees as he tries to recover himself. And Roland, you too start to feel that same level of exhaustion.
Roland, you good, buddy?
Just...
Hugh's gonna rush over to him. What's wrong? What's wrong?
I haven't eaten. That's... Ooh. What did you do?
Mordecai taught me some things. Some really bad things. I heard a priest once whisper the words. Power. Word. Kill. And you see another drop of blood come from the other nostril as Roland, you feel half as healthy as you were a second ago.
Dr. Glass is going to stand up and go over to Samuel, and she's going to attempt to gently but casually put a hand on his face and look at him like a mom or an aunt, checking someone for whether they have, do you look peaked? And say, Sam, are you all right?
Please roll a medicine check.
Careful, Doc. Oh.
No point starting now. 23.
You put your hand onto his forehead and you notice he's weak. He lifts his hand for a moment to try to bat yours away, but it falls back in front of him. And he says, "Don't touch me." And you notice in this moment, he's very drained. He's hurt, one might say. Hugh, Roland, his knees give, and he leans forward, slumping onto you.
He's gonna put his forehead against Roland's forehead. No, you can't. With me, no, you've got to, get up.
The plan's the same. As we arranged. Forces to stay. Oh, it's your turn to get out.
We're both getting out. You hold on. I'm gonna be right back. You're gonna be here when I get back.
Yeah, you got it.
Hugh is going to, with the manacles, it's not subtle, he is barreling over to Sam through Dr. Glass. Just as in, he's just the straightest path forward.
Roland, Hugh sets you down briskly onto the ground as he runs forward, barreling through this ballroom towards Sam Van Thorn. Can you describe what you're looking at, what you're thinking, what you're seeing as your lights will turn off for the last time?
What I'm seeing is the vision's coming in now and it's red lined and towering down. I just see my brothers running and we are back in the original house. We're back in that large room. My brother, 4, 5, he's running towards. He can smell the chef's been cooking. It smells great. Cinnamon buns. He loves them. He can get there. He'll make it one time. And he just slowly keels over, and that small smile on his face, and that last image of his brother running free and happy. And the last thing anyone will see is that the amulet around his neck will just pulse red once, and then breaks.
And that is where we'll end today's session, starting next time on Initiative.
Bringing me fire, bringing me water, taking me high, taking me down. Taking me
I hope you enjoyed listening to today's session as much as we enjoyed playing in it and editing it. This is a labor of love. We're still unmonetized as of recording this video. You can support us on Patreon for $5 a month and get some extra perks along the way. You've heard the trailer for the Emerald Collective before, so this time I'll just tell you, if you enjoyed getting to know Roland, you'll enjoy everything that the Emerald Collective has to offer. Go check them out. Until next time, see you later.